Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Astro Battles 2v2 League 2020 Finals. My name is Frank, and I'll be your host for all the exciting Gears 5 matches we've got lined up for you today. Of course, it being the 2020 Finals, we are going global, so we're starting with the EU bracket. But before we get into that bracket, let's take a look at that glorious prizing that's on the line across the board. We've got $5K total to give away today, with $3,000 going to your champions, $1,000 to the runners up, and third and fourth place going to be taking home a respectable $500. Now, we mentioned that bracket, and we've got some great teams, some familiar faces from the last EU major. Crim and Noto sitting at the top of the bracket in that first semifinal, and Massive Marsh versus Classic Choke in the bottom half of the bracket for that second semifinal. And since that match is set up, we're going to be starting there. But I'm joined by some fantastic casters from that EU region. Toby and Fru, how are you guys doing?
Doing great, Frank. Thank you very much indeed. We've got a great game to start off things, actually, through. The Rated R duo, Marsh and Painz, they've not been that successful in the past in 2v2 Nashers as they have in the league. Now they're going against arguably the underdogs in this one, Marco and Mantis.
Yeah, I'd definitely say they are the underdogs, but it's great to see a different duo in there, right? We've got a different set of 4 teams than we did last time around. And yes, we've got some of the old faithfuls, and especially Marsh and Painz. They'll be wanting to win this one out. But it's going to be on these challenger teams to upset them and maybe cause a little bit of an upset in those ranks.
Yeah, so one thing before we get into this match to touch on is, of course, that map rotation. We've got, those new maps that were added in earlier. So for all of the semifinals across the board today, it's going to be mid, then we're going to be going to boxes, and then for that third map, if we need it, we're going to the 3-in-1. A little bit of a value deal there in map 3 with the arena. But Toby and Fru, sounds like we are getting this game loaded up. So I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frank. Mid is, of course, that first map, as Frank mentioned. And Fru, I guess what we touched upon, right, was that Marsh and Painz are perhaps the favorites for this one, but they have been performing inconsistently. Meanwhile, Marco and co, they have been fantastic, actually, in the co-op in many 2v2 Nasher fights and tournaments. And I think it's, I guess there's a bit of an onus right now on Rated R, on Marsh and Painz to really prove that they can perform in these 2v2 Nasher battles just as they can in the league with their full team.
That's it, isn't it? These are 2 of the best slayers from the Rated R team. They're 2 of the best slayers from Europe, actually. And, they're going to get challenged here. Mantis, Marco, they've come through a pretty decent roster of teams to get to this position. They beat Azaru and Shlu, they beat Vision and Chidwick, and they beat Ghost Evil and Virus. It's 3 teams that we know a lot about and 3 teams that are very, very good players. So really good to see that they're going to get in here as well. Massive Marsh on the other side. They're going to take this first round. They've also come through a pretty decent roster of teams as well, Toby, in Ebelax and Xenox. You know those 2 guys. Crisis Little Bounce and Death Dancer and Ricardo in that first round as well. So, yeah, absolutely, these 2 teams have come through stacked rosters, and they deserve to be here, both of them.
No doubt about it. Strong start for Rated R then, as Marsh and Painz do take down their enemies very quickly. But look how aggressive off the bat Marco has been. Straight off to the pillar. Painz says no, and in fact, he gets a double with that. Another 9-second round there. And shout out to the beautiful UI now that we have in operation for Alex. It is such an awesome update in many different areas, and the user interface here in 2v2 Nashers and other modes is no exception to that rule.
Very, very true. It's definitely been an upgrade. In fact, Operation 4 as a whole, Toby, that's been an upgrade through and through, in my opinion. It's really good to see us getting to play on this new patch as well. Marsh does get taken out in the end. Mantis falls, though. It's going to be 3-0 to Painz here. And the guys from Rated R, they've started strong.
Yeah, that is safe to say. And for me, so far, if we're going to look at this strategically, right, Alex, it's Mantis and Marco. They're being super aggressive off the bat. Marco through the pillars each and every time against Painz, trying to find that early aggression, that early damage to find that numbers advantage, but Main just keeps shutting them down. I'm on board with him right now, in fact, just to see if he's playing any differently. He stayed wide, Painz keeping his distance. That's something you're not used to seeing from this individual, but the smarts clearly on the show here, along with the raw skill, keeping his distance, reading the enemy well, as they go up now 4-0.
I'm not too surprised to see that from Painz, though. You know, utilizing that extra backwalk speed, just keeping his distance, making sure that he can't get gibbed out in 1-2 shots. I think what you gotta remember really here in 2v2s is that the focus is purely on that slaying, right? It's purely on the opponents. So this rated R strategy of really being aggressive that you see in the 5v5 side of things doesn't really play out here because the other teams are fully focused on defending against that. So I like what Rated R are doing here. They're going defensive. They're making sure that they're hitting their shots. They're not taking too much damage. And when it comes down to it, they're taking these rounds and they're there for each other. They're there for those revives. They're there for that defensive kind of strategic play rather than kind of getting themselves split up a little bit and losing rounds because of it.
Very well said. Indeed, it's a mode of its own with no power to play for off the bat. It's all about cover advantage and whatever damage and positional advantage you might have. Oh, Marsh getting down. Painz comes to his rescue, though, as Marco is able to clean up Marsh as he rolls into his shotgun. As classic choke do put their first round on the board, and that's a lot better for them. They were a little bit aggressive off the bat, but Rated R perhaps a couple of mistakes there in that round.
Yeah, just a couple of mistakes. I think they had that isolation on Mantis early on. They just couldn't get the distance between Painz and him. Just to kind of clean that one up. That's a lovely kill from Painz coming through, and Marsh has done the same on the other side of things. The Rated R boys lock in another in just 8 seconds. 6-1 up now. You got to think they're definitely a foot forward in this series already with a 6-1 lead, 5 rounds up, looking real strong. And you just got to look at Painz there. 11 eliminations, 1 death. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Neither team really has been aggressive through close. It's all about being open through the pillars and holding down the mid box. Great damage from Mantis on the Marsh, finding him. Painz still full red, trying to back off and regain health and reset, but Mantis is not letting him escape. The execution will come on through. Operation 4, brand new. As they put another round on the board, it's a little bit of a comeback. It's safe to say they need to pull off here, Alex, but in 2v2 Nasha, anything is possible.
That's the first time I've seen that execution in the wild, Toby. I didn't realize he gave it the fingers as well. Fantastic. I'm buying that, Marsh says. I think I might be too. That's fantastic. All right. Painz does get taken out in that last round. A nice little clutch coming through from the COG side of things, but good defensive play will come through. Traded down, gonna come down. Mantis very, very red. Marsh also having to back off. 4% health on one side, 50 on the other. Great shot over the cover from Mantis. And that is going to be a 3rd round on the board for the COG.
You have to give it to classic choke, right? Each time they have the advantage in the end in the 1v1, they do not let these Rated R players escape despite their amazing movement. You saw Marsh, he knew he had it down, he had to pull back and try and reset his health, but Mantis was not having any of it. Great shot over the cover, as you mentioned. So now they're starting to gain a little bit of momentum here. They're definitely in this game. Painz still keeping far back of these pillars, but they do rotate around to try and get the right hand on mid-box. Painz with a lovely back A, leaving it to a 2v1. Marco does get the down on Marsh, though he's still in it. Painz holds his shot for what seems like an eternity, Alex, walking around the left-hand side of that box. Confident in his accuracy. He will take that next round, 7-3 now.
That's what we call a bot walk right there, Toby, but that's exactly what I needed. You didn't need to get too close, right? If you get too close, you run the risk of getting gibbed yourself. So take it slow, take it wide, hit that shot, get the down, and the round is in the bag.
That's certainly what it's about. Marco, again, being aggressive on the right-hand side. Painz actually fighting back this time around. Lovely movement, but Mantis does turn around, keeping it to a 2v1. Oh no, the noob roll. Marsh will find Mantis. Full red. Can Marco keep up the pressure? No, Marsh does hold his ground for now. There's Marsh, actually. He's applying the pressure. He's keeping the damage up. Marco with 0 cover. Marsh even holding his shot there at the end and putting in that final shot to make sure they do come away with that round. 8-3 now. The comeback, Alex, for this first map, do you think it's possible?
It's possible, absolutely. I mean, you've got to take it a round at a time, right? And you've got to cut out the noob rolls. It's cost you 2 rounds now, and quite honestly, that's purely user input, right? So they've got to be careful on that front. But Rated R, they're looking very, very good here. Painz and Marsh, so strong, picking their targets, hitting their shots, and I'm on board with Painz. He's got a full spread on Mantis. They're going to trade down. The revive's going to come through. Marsh just get one, and now we are in a 1v1 situation here with Mantis having to heal all the way back up. 34% health versus 100% health. Marsh has got the damage down 6% on Mantis. That's not going to be enough. It is going to be Marsh taking that one, and will lock himself in that 9th round just one way from this first map.
They are looking as strong as ever right now, Rated R. Regardless of the strategy that their opponents throw at them, they keep their distance, they keep the damage up. And without Mantis or Marco really trying to 2v1 a single opponent, it just doesn't seem like they can really get into a round. Oh, this is aggressive from Marco. In fact, straight onto that pillar. Quickly turns around for that back A. Lovely job. Painz does clean it up, though. Holds his shot. That's not going to pay off as he backs right into the fight and does not find the gib he was looking for. It's a risky maneuver for sure, but he was not able to get away and regen his health. Instead, tries to surprise his enemy, but Mantis, again, not having any of it.
Good job he managed that shot as well, because if he'd have missed it, that would have been a definite kill over towards the swarm side. Painz now. Big shots down on Mantis. Trying to just chip away at him, trying to get some damage down. Mantis is going to be the target here. Mantis has done well to move around, though. He's going to have to get back to the end of the box, and here we see Swarm so low. Painz is regenerating back up, but the 2v1 is on here. And Marco's going to go down. This could be it. This could be map 1 going towards Painz and Marsh. It is going to be exactly that, Toby, as they lock in that 10th round.
There you have it. Great round it is. And Painz and Marsh, again, they're looking incredibly good, aren't they? And that was a very difficult round they had in front of them, right, Alex? They had to pull back, make sure they keep their health. Painz even pulling back all the way to his spawn almost, and Marsh forced to pull back to the very back pillar of close. But boy, did they play it well to keep alive there.
They did. They did fantastically. I mean, I was looking at Painz' point of view, you know, on my side of things, and they were down to like 11, 12% health, and he really had to be careful getting himself behind those pillars, getting himself into a good position, really, to find himself, you know, able to able to regenerate his health and get back in that fight and land those big shots.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one as well to start things off, that first map, because neither team, again, really did anything too strategic to get from the get-go. It was always the base strat, 1 box, 1 open. We had a number of 2v1s, which were great from the COG side in particular, but no one really tried anything too aggressive off the bat. There was never 2 through box from the get-go. There was never 2 through close. I mean, do you agree with that sentiment, perhaps, that you just go for the base and play consistent, or do you think perhaps there's an opportunity for COG there somewhere in one of those rounds to try and take Rated R by surprise?
I think if you are going to just try and isolate one person, you've got to do it much quicker than that. You know, the idea is essentially you get into the range where you can just basically both of you bomb one person down, 2 shots, and then you clean it up. But what we were seeing there, especially, you know, from the side of Classic Choke, is that we were seeing them try and attempt that, but when they were going for it, they were positioning themselves very close to that mid box. And what that did is allow the second player from Massive Marsh to get into the middle, land that big chunk shot, sometimes pick up a down, sometimes pick up a gib. And, you know, even if you do get the down on the opposition, you're still losing one of your own teammates as well. And you just end up trading 1 for 1. So it's got to be quick. It's got to be perfect. And, you know, Marsh and Painz were doing that. They were finding that shot. On the other side, I don't think Mantis and Marco really had, you know, the kind of perfect shots, the dexterity, I guess, to pull that off every single round. And they were losing rounds because of it.
Well, I think it's safe to say that mid is perhaps one of the most popular 2v2 maps now. It used to be boxes, it being the first one. And of course, that's the second map we're going into. There's a little bit more strategy available in boxes, I want to say. You know, you're not as thrust into that open position all that quickly. You can go wide through the pillars. We've seen it time and time again, both teams trying to really focus on right-hand advantage. And I think that's something to keep an eye on going into this one, is how do the players on both sides manage that right hand through the vending machine, but also how aggressive you are through the pillars as well.
Yeah. Very true. It is all about that aggression. Sometimes you have to just kind of let go, right? Let loose and go forward. And we saw that from Marsh a couple of times. you know, he was not in the best position, but he managed to, you know, turn a fight around, a 1v2 situation where, you know, the aggression comes through on the opposition side, and then what comes from that is a mistake, right? That noob roll out into the open. We saw it. It was a perfect 1v2 situation, and it got flipped on its head very, very quickly just because of one technical mistake. But that was the point at which Marsh just went, all right, time for my aggression, right? My time to go forward. And he did exactly that, got that kill, put the pressure on, even down at 6% health, got the pressure on, pushed forward, and managed to turn the round around and managed to get himself a nice little clutch 1v2.
We didn't explicitly talk about predictions, Alex, but I think it's safe to say Rated R are looking incredibly strong. Given that first map, right, I think it's safe to say that they're perhaps the favorites to take this one. And to be honest, I'm going to go as far as saying as they don't drop a map in this series. They only need a 2-0 victory here, so they're going into potentially the last map of the semi-final. What are you thinking, Alex? Do you think Mantis and his teammate have any wiggle room here to try and get a map back and force a final map?
Wiggle room, but it needs to be so clean. And we're going to go into boxes, right, as this next map, Toby, and I think that's something we should take into account when talking about these predictions as well, because boxes is a map that teamwork generally plays a really big part on it. It's all about positioning this map and closing down on your opposition. I think, for me at least, I don't know if you'd agree, but mid is much more about just kind of landing shots. There's always an opportunity to hit a shot. It's just about landing them. Whereas boxes, it's about finding them. And I think Rated R, they're just a better two, right? They're the better duo in that regard. So yes, I'd agree with you. Yes, I think it's going to be 2-0. And do Marco and Mantis have a chance? Yes, absolutely. But they've got to clean up their game.
Yeah, I mean, any mistakes at this point, especially now that Rated R are clearly warmed up, right, from the previous maps that they've played in this tournament, they really do need to be on point. I think, you nailed it. On boxes, for me, there's a lot more opportunities to really take advantage of incorrect positioning, or any advantages you take by forcing an opponent off. You can kind of turn it into a 2v1 very quickly. And also, there's a lot of cover that can kind of conceal where your opponents are. Two players might not have a very accurate representation of the map in their mind at all times. One player could go missing for a moment, and very quickly that could be a back A off the Venom machine. So let's pay attention to those factors as we go into this one. Again, there's a battle for right hand as Painz is trying to take advantage there. You see the quick swap through the Venom machine as they try to go for a 2v1. A bit of a trade out in terms of double downs, but Marsh is quick to revive, and Marco will fall shortly thereafter. Another good start from Rated R. A little bit of difficulty there getting down, but quickly recovered with a lovely chain revive. Yeah,
it was that recovery, right? So quick, and that's that Pro League experience coming into play. Always being there for your teammate, always having that revive button spammed out when your teammate's about to go down, so they get that instant revive. And I think, on the side of Mantis and Marco, we just didn't see that. Well, they're going to push through here, straight through vending machines. They tried to get that quick kill on Painz, and they did take him down. Mantis going to find that kill on Marsh. Painz will reply, and now 1v1 situation here. Painz so red. Will get taken out by Marco in the end. A good round for the Swarm.
Absolutely. 1-1 now. As Marco and Mantis do show immediately, they are very much still in this. And a lot of those fights, right, just past the vending machine, can be a little bit scrappy at times, given the lack of cover and the change of elevation. So it can really quickly turn into a straight battle or a race to that up A on the sandbag. Oh, lovely job, actually. Speaking of up A's, that was a back A from Mantis there. As Marsh going to roll off that cover straight into Mantis. Shotgun once again. 2-1 now as they take the score lead for the first time in this game.
Yeah, nice couple of rounds coming in here, honestly, from Mantis and Marco. They prioritized, they found the kills, they, made the mistakes of Massive Marsh very well known, right? Got some nice kills out of it. Really good play, especially Mantis on that back A headshot. That was lovely. Now Mantis pushing through. Let's get down by Marsh, perhaps a little bit too aggro, but here we go. Another mistake coming through from Painz as he slides right into the Nasher, and it's actually going to be 3 in a row here for the Swarm.
Dicey times. I've always said, right, that mid is kind of like that base map, the very consistent map that you can rely on just winning out if you do just hit more shots than your opponent, and you kind of just hold your lanes, if you will, that pillar and that mid box. But here on boxes, that is very reminiscent of War Machine of old. It can get very scrappy, and even back on that map, this map was known for the very quick change of direction of fights through the middle. Marco does get a down back on Painz, meanwhile leaving a 1v1 scenario. Both players at full health. Marco back at the spawn. Not the greatest of cover for Marsh. He will push on. Full right hand, great back A against Marco, and Marsh will hold his ground, hold his nerve, most importantly, getting that very last shot to win that round, ending that round streak.
I like the aggression there coming out from Marsh. He was pushing, he was the aggressor in that situation. I think, you know, especially in this iteration of Gears, it is a little bit easier to be that person, you know, on the front foot, right, pushing forward than it is to be the defensive player, just because of how fast people can move around the map. Good of Marsh to realise that, and realise that he also had Marco backed into a really tough spot to defend as well.
Yeah, that wasn't a position I particularly liked Rated R sitting in, 2 on the back sandbag. I've got out of that now, Marsh pushing around the pillar. Oh no, Mark will find Mantis. They both bunch up on the vending machine. They both try and gang up on Marsh as he tries to flank round, but unfortunately, a give to the back will not help your teammate whatsoever. 3-3 now, Rated R quickly tying this one up.
Yep, that was a bit of a mistake, wasn't it? That was not ideal. If you are classic choke here, that was indeed, as their namesake says. That was a bit of a dodgy shot there. Painz just slid straight through a Nash up. Should have gone down, but instead he's going to get rewarded with an up A and a nice kill on Marco. Going to come through, and now 3 in a row. Over on the side of Massive Marsh, they've taken the lead back. They've got 3 of their own. Scoreboard-wise, it's Marco, isn't it, really? That just needs to step up a little bit. Everyone else kind of hitting the same pace, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, not too far behind, though. So you find himself in the vending machine. Mantis being really aggressive, finding Marsh stuck in no man's land. Painz 2v1, lovely down, just running around that vending machine, but Mantis again, hot on his tail, making sure there is no chance of a clutch opportunity there. 4-4.
So many unforced errors coming out on the side of Painz and Marsh. I think that's the 3rd or 4th round, really, that they've, you know, lost a person just due to a technical mistake, a misroll, or, you know, noob roll, as we say over here. And it's not, you know, their character, really, is it? I mean, I don't usually see that. Anyway, this round, let's see what happens. It's going to be a double down straight off the bat for Marco and Mantis. Stealing the lead back once again, Toby. 5-4 now.
It's happened for me again here through. Rated R, immediately, they just don't have any cover to work with. They're stuck back on those sandbags. And we know historically that it's just such a weak position, right? Both back on War Machine when Lancers were involved, and it is the case here as well, because that cover on the pillars and vending machine is just so dominant. Again, Painz and Marsh stuck on the sandbags. They don't want to challenge these players in that back A, up A war on vending machine. And instead, they really cost themselves for me. Marsh, he gets taken out. Painz does close the gap. So he's able to force a 1v1 scenario. Himself again back on that sandbag, just being peppered. But no, the roll, omnidirectional, missing that cover. Painz will punish him. Again, it's tied up again.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. The roll coming out at the end was, you know, the end of it, but it was on that pillar fight. I think it was Mantis that got downed, and then Marco came through, put a huge shot on Painz. It took him so weak, and Mantis just could not find the damage. Painz is trying to take this right-hand pillar every time, but he's just getting chunked out before he gets anywhere near. Down to 24%, and he's still in spawn. Mantis with another roll over the side. It seems like someone's greased up all the covers today, Toby. I don't know what's going on, but Revive's going to come through. Back A misses. Painz trying to make it play here. Let's get one. He's going to be down from Marsh. Marsh is going to fall down, and now 1v1 situation. Marco has the opportunity to right his wrongs from last round. Painz, though. And he hit the shots. He's found one big spread there. 20% on both players. Marco's going to start to heal up a little bit earlier. Both now trying to heal. Painz back to 100%. Can he get the check? Can't get anything just yet. First one's good. Second one whiffs a little bit. 5% health on Marco. He needs to heal up. Is he able to? That's the question. He is indeed. He's going to back off. Marco finds a little pistol. Painz finds some ammo there.
Marco's out of ammo as well, Alex. I've just noticed.
Marco, he has the opportunity. He can finish this with a pistol. He's got to be careful. Yep. If you can find some ammo on the floor. Not going to matter though. Painz comes through. Lovely up A. Lovely little shot. And the lead once again flip-flops.
Yeah, it was only just later on that I realized Mark would run out of ammo, and he was able to rotate round to that sandbag to pick up the Nasher, but Painz was well aware of what was going on. He saw the reload and collapsed on him as a result. And you know, very close round, but again, Rated R just not having the cover they need. You're stuck with height disadvantage there on that pocket. You're stuck back on a sandbag where you can be continually peppered, and so Marsh and Painz are forced to move eventually. Marsh is able to make that work though. Lovely wraparound shot there, finding Mantis. 2v1 scenario, Marco we've taken out, and that's it for me, right? For these two players, for them to get back into this game, they need to immediately, when given the opportunity, fly in and get an up A or a back A. And you're so restricting yourself there, I feel, just to get back into the game. I don't know if it's a timing issue or not, but they need to get to the covers a little bit faster, perhaps, and fight on an even footing like they are now.
Right, totally right. Bit of a misstep there from Marsh as well. He goes flying over the cover. 2v1 situation now. What's Painz going to be able to do in this situation? Does get a good check on Marco now, trying to push up a little bit. Can he get the back A off? He cannot. Mantis is going to get the down. They're going to tie things. Oh, they're not going to tie things up. They're going to be 1 round short as they look to tie things up in this next round. But they're keeping it much closer this time around, Toby. This is what I like to see.
Yeah. Complete contrast from the first map, right? It looks like Rated R, Painz and Marsh, they had mid very much mastered, but Mantis and Marco have other ideas right now for boxes. Again, Painz goes back to the sandbag. Marsh now electing to go wide. Mantis has the right hand. That roll's not going to help him. Lots of damage sent his way, but it's going to turn into a fight on the sandbags. Painz will back off. He is full red. Marsh immediately full red. Painz isn't close enough to really help out. Essentially, both players 2v1 there. As again, we are all tied up now.
We are indeed. This time I'm not a little bit too early on that one. I do like what I saw from Marco there. He had 4% health, Toby, when he got back round to that vending machine, and he just got a nice little back A off, and then that was enough. Just enough to start to heal, and then a really big shot on that right hand. Just opened up the opportunity to damage. This time though, Painz, he's not holding back whatsoever. He's got full control of left-hand pillar. Marco's going to go down straight away. Change of strategy coming through, and that's 2 down. A lovely round there from the Rated R boys. Massive Marsh will go up 8-7, and they switched it up a little bit. They didn't go for that right-hand pillar. So as soon as we saw Classic Choke go to try and defend it, there was no one there to defend against. And it just left a really big opening for Painz to kind of slide on through and get some damage down. Marsh to follow up.
Complete change in opening strategy there, evidently. Painz immediately went for the right hand. The left hand, rather, gets some damage. But back to square one, although Marsh has taken the pillar. Mantis trying to go wide, but tries to double back on Painz. Not close enough for the up A. That's not the wisest choice there. As Painz completely read that. Marsh helping out on Marco also. 9-7 now, and 1 round away right out from finishing this.
That's it, isn't it? That's it. 1 round away from a spot in that grand final. That's what they want. That's what they came here for, isn't it? A shot at that cash. 5 grand on the line. We are going to see if they're able to do it this time around. On board with Painz. He's going to be pushing up left-hand side again. On this left-hand pillar, trying to get some damage down. Marsh still back on that sport bag. They're going to fly in our Classic Choke, but they're in a little bit of a choke point themselves. Mantis is going to go down. Can Painz finish it here? They've got one, but the return fire has come through. It's a 1v1 situation for the round. It's going to be Mantis, and he's not going to go down without a fight just yet.
Oh, that was nail-bitingly close. It basically came down to 1 shot. Painz wasn't able to hit his. The knife beat him to it. They keep themselves in it, do Mantis and Marco. The elimination so similar between these two teams, evenly spread. That was a hard-fought round. That was so aggressive from the Swarm side. Marsh, though, different. And straight away taking the left pillar. Painz just hanging out in the middle, careful not to get up-aid. Marsh does find the down. This could potentially be it. No, in fact, Marco does get 1 back in the form of Painz. 1v1 now on the vending machine. Sudden death. Oh, lovely from Marsh, but it doesn't matter. Marco, the law of right-hand advantage does prevail here, and 2 rounds in a row now for Classic Choke. as we come to the final round of this map. Which way is it going to go?
And you know what? You know what? It absolutely should have been the law. You're right. Slide at someone's right hand, you should expect to die. And I'm so glad Marco held his shot there. Fantastic. 9-9 the score. We're on to round 19, Toby. Which way is it going to go? Can Classic Choke keep themselves in it? Can Massive Marsh punch their way through to that grand final spot?
I feel the nerves of the players, Alex. I won't lie to you. Painz forward. Marsh does get down though. 2v1 and Marco will fall. There you have it. Rated R do take the second map, and in much more difficult fashion, Alex, than the first map. Could have gone either way, you felt, in the end there, but Rated R, they do hold their nerve. Perhaps the professional experience coming through for them in the end there, but a massive contrast from map 2 to map 1.
It was. We saw Classic Choke. They really stepped up their game. They really looked a lot better on boxes. It's a shame they couldn't do that on mid, but I think they gave a real good showing for themselves. And in the end, it is, that top place finishing Pro League team, 2 players from it coming through and getting into that grand final. And they await some good players on the other side of the bracket, but I don't think, they're going to have a good fight in the final, but I don't think they're undeserving. They definitely were the better team in this semi-final, and it's going to be good to see what they can do in the grand final coming up.
Absolutely, I think a well-deserved victory, and quite fitting, as you said. We've yet to see Marsh and Painz really perform consistently in the 2v2 Nasher tournaments, and a very good job from them. A very exciting first semi-final to kickstart things off today on the broadcast.
Baby, hit it.